is going to be enough against that Maokai ultimate.
Exactly right. Let's hop onto the Rift here for game number 1. All right, fans still warming up, trying to, get their ears in to remember how it all goes with the fan chants that are now well and truly re-enabled here at LoL Park. And game number 1, the very first game of 2023 LCK League of Legends. I'm just so happy that we're back doing this, Wolf. It's been way too long,
right? It really
right?
has. It really, really has. We've been commentating challengers. Valdez and I did the Faker versus Deft, but sitting in these chairs, casting League of Legends, it's been a very, very long time since we've commentated LCK, and to cast players like Fate, didn't actually get to play at the World Championship.
Yeah, right.
It's going to be very fun. Fate played a lot of Taliyah during his time in Kwangdong. Was one of the early adopters in one of the longer Taliyah players when everyone else was kind of moving away from it. So kind of comfort for him as Rascal.
Ooh, hop first, nice. Going to be able to make sure that he just gets a little bit of extra space. Of course, nothing really happening there.
Yeah, just making sure he locks that one in so he doesn't have to deal with Boomerang harass in the lane.
Ooh, that ebb and flow value was obscene from Kellin. Got to make sure that's how you know that the Nami player is legit, whether they get the 3 bounces. And I think that was an instant 3 bounce.
Ooh, BeryL taking a lot of damage here. At least BeryL is playing Yuumi, right? And so we've seen a lot of these Zeri lanes where you're playing the Lulu Zeri against the Lucian Nami, and it works out way less because the Lulu can die, can't attach, can't become immortal, and the sustain just isn't as good. So the Yuumi is going to at least stave off the pressure here in this lane for a while, and will force the Elise pressure we were talking about, that level 3 we see from Elise oftentimes where she comes over to the blue buff. That's the kind of stuff you're looking for here as D+.
Yep. You saw Fate getting zoned out of experience there by ShowMaker, who's playing very aggressively. Canyon hit level 3, so now it's time to head towards this bottom side. deokdam and BeryL not going to find him there. Of course, Canyon hadn't actually wrapped around just yet. He's now biding his time. They have moved up pretty far. In comes Canyon now. Let's see whether this first gank is going to work out. The Ardent Blaze thrown out. A little dishy dash is going to be enough to mitigate the problem.
Yep. Prowling projectile traded back here. deokdam knows just how far he could push the issue here, as Canyon will not just let this blue buff go. He's going to make something out of this.
Oh, nicely secured there by Croco, but still, Canyon looking for a little bit more. Managing to get the Wolves to body block for him. Sees a tree. He's one with the forest. deokdam down towards this bottom side, trying to stave them off. Canyon will still be able to steal all of Croco's stuff if he wants to.
Yeah, I was waiting for this graphic to come up, by the way, because this is my first time commentating at least one of my favorite champions to watch over the years, whether she was a jungler or a solo laner back in the day, or support.
I can't believe it's almost been 1,000 days.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it a few times over the last few years. It's been banned a few times, but it's never actually made it onto the Rift. Very excited that Elise is relevant again.
Yeah, I actually feel like jungle metas are way more fun when it's possible to pick Elise. I don't know why. Just feels like it is. When early ganking junglers are relevant, feels like the game can be a lot more exciting. But let's see whether it's going to continue to do so. ShowMaker teleports back to lane. Canyon still yet to find a successful gank in this early stage. Of course, Canyon known as a bit of a herbivore over his time, despite the fact that he's often likened to a polar bear. Yeah. Very carnivorous animal.
We'll go ahead and grab double scuttle here for that quick roam top, or rather quick movement top here, as you pass that way after looking for the level 3 gank. Doesn't find anything there. Summoner's down here for deokdam and BeryL, but still, they're holding off the pressure pretty well thus far, and we've seen a lot of Zeri Yuumi lanes fall apart to Lucian Nami when that Elise level 3 comes through. Not to be the case for veterans deokdam and BeryL.
Yep, nice little flick there from Fate. But Rune Prison going to add to a little bit of damage here. Lands the Q as well to ShowMaker, and he's still zoning Fate. Look at this. Level 5 to level 4. I think it's going to be a while before Fate gets there. There's a lot of minions that he's just barely in range of. I think he actually is slightly in range of experience, but when you're talking about mid lane being in range of experience, you know that something's going pretty horribly wrong. We'll see whether Croco can help it out here as he's going to rotate over. There's a Twisted Advance. ShowMaker, he may have overextended here. No more Twisted Advance going to be available, and there it is. Sapling that he prepared earlier.
Croco shakes his head, too. You're not going to get away with this. And you could see there was a moment there where ShowMaker backed off. He's like, okay, I think I'm getting the idea that Croco is here. Fate used his combo, and then ShowMaker steps back up. Okay, you already used your shove. I can come up here and look for the kill, put some more pressure on, and that's exactly when Croco strikes. Really nicely baited there from Fate. Croco's ready. Doesn't have to flash for this or anything. Going to pick up an early kill for this Maokai.
Very clean stuff. Of course, ShowMaker will retain the CS advantage, but this has really helped stem the bleeding for Fate there in that mid lane. Goes back, has that extra assist, so a bit of extra money to help out as well. So, DRX, I guess, slight advantage tempo-wise. We'll see whether Canyon can help mitigate it. Here down towards the bottom side, Control Ward will be taken down, but that does mean that the gank is not going to be successful, at least for now. Rascal going in. Could this be his first solo kill? And the answer is no, at least not for now. Does still have flash available. Canna also still wielding his as deokdam and BeryL.
Realm warps up for ShowMaker, hits level 6, so always needs to be respected here. deokdam only level 4, will be hitting 5 momentarily, but you know, this is a very scary time to be a Zeri.
Certainly is. Deft dashing on forward. Bop and block going to help mitigate a lot of that damage quite nicely there from BeryL. As Canyon down here once again. BeryL's like, dude, we just want a 2v2 down here. It's not fair.
Fate taking a lot of damage once again here in this lane. ShowMaker's playing it so well despite the death. Canyon really wants this bait to work out. Has the wards cleared, but I think this is just too transparent.
Yeah.
And deokdam and BeryL still lose a little bit of farm here, still lose control of this lane. So regardless of them surviving here, there's going to be so much more control over this first Chemtech Drake.
I'm going to really struggle not to say deokdam and Kellin.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so used to saying it. It's crazy. It's now ShowMaker, doesn't have flash, so Fate doesn't need to be too scared, but he doesn't have very much health. It's only, you know, a few spells, and he will just be taken down, so needs to be a bit careful. Canyon will be able to take the first Chemtech Drake, not Jeff, not in this league. That's the other league that he's called
The true
Jeff.
fans know, the hardcore fans know.
Yeah, true fans do know that it is indeed Jeff, but Jeff is now cosplaying as the Chemtech Drake. As let's check this one out one more time. So, Croco with the beautiful timing on the game.
So Fate just used his shove right before this replay, so ShowMaker steps back up. So he's baited ShowMaker. ShowMaker's like, oh, they're not going to go for a gank if he doesn't have shove. I'm going to go in, he has no health. And then Croco's just having so much fun. You could see it on his player cam before, but
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just fantastic because it's now Croco and BeryL on the one team. And I think that was the most exciting thing to me when I saw this roster, is to see two kinds of crazy meet together on this squad, because it felt like BeryL was the one sort of insane guy on DRX last time around, and they were world champions. And now they've introduced, they're like, well, that worked. Let's bring in another one. And Croco's now joined the team. There could just be a lot of really crazy plays for this team. And I think that benefits a player like Rascal, who just got so many solo kills, plays very aggressively in lane. If his entire team are just playing like madmen, it's going to really help the synergy, at least. If things are going right. Could mean that there'll be a massively all-or-nothing team, and you never really know what's going to happen. But so far, working out quite nicely. 1-0 is the kill score. They have about 100 gold lead. As there are a couple of saplings sitting in that brush. Blasting wand also there for Croco.
Yeah, this is going to make those hit a little bit harder if anyone walks through those. So here we go.
Yep, shove. Not going to quite find the mark here, as now Fate has a cat with him. That's going to be a steal, though, from Canyon. He can just walk it out if he wants to, but he doesn't have to. There's the flash now. Rascal is going to be picked up for D+ Kia's first kill. And they'll be able to walk this one off as well. Just stealing DRX's lunch money. Yeah, despite the positioning of the saplings there, Dam1 Kia could, or rather, D+ Kia. It's going to take a while, guys. I'm glad you caught it, though. I mean, I think I haven't even been catching mine. I'm just saying it. So they are able to break through the choke point regardless, and DRX, I think, we're so reliant on, okay, we have to zone out here, we win the war of attrition, but you don't at this stage in the game, unfortunately, and the Narbar is ready for Canna. They get the yoink onto Rascal there after Canyon steal. This is just beautifully played. Canyon just comes over here, cocoons, does so much damage to Rascal, gets the steal. Pretty early smite from Croco, great reaction from Canyon. Maokai ultimate here, poor angle to actually protect the Jax, unfortunately. Canna has his Narbar. And great start here for Dam1 Kia on objectives, getting the first Drake, grabbing that Herald. It will be ShowMaker, however, who picks up the eye. I'm going to give that a A+ Kia for that one. There you go. Definitely a fantastic play there from Canyon. make sure that they steal it away and also grab themselves a kill. Now finds the Cocoon as well. Final chapter comes down, but it can't go in every direction. And deokdam is dead. BeryL is just going to be left to the wolves or the spiders or the people or the mermaids, all the things down there towards that bottom side. D+Kia well and truly on the board now, Wolf.
And, I mean, this is what you could do with the Elise plus Nami. There's a lot of pushing lanes right to the Ashe Varus. It works well with Elise too, but with Nami, you get that bubble as, oh no,
Okay,
Fate.
max range Cocoon. This is what we remember from the Elise gaming. However, they're not going to be able to secure the kill onto Fate. He will have to go home. Flash is now burnt as well.
Canyon's like, do I flash for this? I guess not. And they will get the charge here. ShowMaker gets to give his jungler the plate gold this time around. It's usually the reverse. And down go those plates. A lot of money now going to DAM1Kia's pockets. Great start for DRX with that bait kill onto ShowMaker, but ever since then it has just been all blue on the map.
It really is, and I think a lot of it stems from how the laning has just been going in general, right? You've seen the bottom lane, the 2v2 was entirely D+Kia. In the mid lane, ShowMaker was zoning the entire time, and yes, he died, but he still had a huge CS advantage. The pressure lead was well and truly there for him, and that's what we remember about ganking junglers, right? If you have mid pressure, it becomes so much easier to play them out. Let's check this out again.
This is all about this control ward. They don't know Canyon is here. They're pushing the envelope. They know they have ult, so they think they can get away from a 2v2, but unfortunately, Elise is here. You get Cocoon. Follow-up is super easy with the bubble coming through from Kellin. He's got his ultimate. You're just chain CC'd to death. Nothing Yuumi could do for you there.
Yeah.
And it's no cleanse or anything like that on deokdam. He went for barrier. Pretty doomed in every sense of it when that happens.
Yeah, certainly not working out. Boomerang's being thrown into this brush here by Canna, not wanting to face check, of course. Jack's pretty good in melee range, as it turns out. Canyon taking away his Raptor camp. Still behind a little bit when it comes to the jungle camps, but he's got a couple of kills. Everything definitely working out for him. Demonic Embrace done here for Croco. More of that bruiser AP style of Maokai build that I think a lot of us have enjoyed a lot more than their first strike variant. That we saw not necessarily work out.
I like this one a lot more. Definitely gives you a lot of extra power with your saplings too. You're going to see deokdam get chunked out a little bit here. He's got Croco down to defend, but this means once again this 3v3 is so frustrating to play out for deokdam and BeryL. So much farm is being lost here as they try to manage this wave. And the Drake is up.
Yeah. Oh, there's the culling.
Just pushing them off of more minions.
Out. Not a lot of summoner spells left remaining here for the DRX bottom lane. Canyon smells it in the water, but immediately is going to be found out. Rascal, oh my goodness, that boomerang very, very close. Probably wouldn't have been enough to kill, but still, Canna. Fantastic work here towards this top side still. Yet to put together his Trinity Force, but getting pretty close. Is now Croco in a bit of trouble. Cocoon's going to miss, but there's the bubble. Final chapter coming on here. The double tap's enough, and Deft picks up the kill on deokdam. Fight not quite over just yet, especially here towards the top side as Rascal is going to get solo kill. No, oh, so close, but Canna reigns supreme.
Canna just out of range of the turret, just barely out of range of the turret. If he's under turret aggro there, he dies, but he doesn't. Bottom side, I cannot believe Kellin connects that bubble onto Zeri Yuumi, hits it again, and this is a disaster for DRX. D+Kia really pulling ahead now. That's going to be 2 Drakes in their favor. A second kill for Canna up here on the top side. And this is a Gnar into Jack's matchup. He is just absolutely managing so well, poking with range, forcing Rascal into these awkward all-ins, gets another kill, and Canyon has such a massive lead.
Yeah.
And Croco is tussling over here, and this is when deokdam's on the wall. And that's the easiest bubble to hit because you can only juke really in 2 different directions. One of those is towards the enemy bot duo. You cannot 2v2. Great zoning from Canyon. And then Canna just decides he's going to all in here. Narbar comes through. And Rascal wants to play this out, but notice that Canna makes sure gets out of turret range here before the stun. Yeah.
Oh,
so close, so close.
Poor Rascal, but if we remember back, it was just a couple of years that it was Canna and Rascal, the 2 that were fighting for solo killer of the split.
Yeah, 2021.
And those days have really felt like they've been over, right? Of course, Canna had a really rough time last year. Nothing really working out for them over on Nongshim. But now, really, you get off on the right foot, especially for a player that really struggled a year ago. Like, oh, that's going to feel so, so good here for D+Kia's new top laner.
all of these really critical spikes are being hit now for Damwon Kia as well. Because of those 3 assists, Kellin has his early mandate. You've got Gale Force, Rods up early-ish for ShowMaker here.
Yep.
And Night Harvester means Canyon is more lethal in all of these ganks. The news doesn't get better for DRX for a long time.
Certainly doesn't. And the time when the news does get good is when deokdam gets 3 items. That's basically when it happens. Rascal going to utilize his counter-strike just to make sure that he clears out the minions. No worries there at all, but not going to be finding any kills or anything like that. So much extra play gold. 0 plates picked up by DRX, and that really just shows you the laning prowess of these players and what has really caused DRX to have a rough time in this game.
You've drafted 2 lanes that kind of lose by default with picking the Taliyah and obviously the Zeri Yuumi with the Lucian available. But then you've also gotten outplayed in the top lane, so you're losing all 3 lanes. You've lost all 3 objectives. I mean, just look at this damage coming through. Deft 2 levels up alone could just start to put that hurt onto the bot duo. And they're going to save the turret. One small consolation prize is deokdam's just trying to pick up every minion he can. Because like you said, 3 items is going to be the ticket. We're at least 15 minutes away from starting to talk about how close is he to his 3rd item. Right now, he's got his 1st.
Yeah. So a long way away, I think, is the update that we're going to give right now. Of course, Deft sitting pretty close to grabbing his 2nd, especially after he collects the money for this turret as well, as the extra movement speed also of the Aqua Prison. Some Aqua Freedom there for Deft as he runs away from the turret. Probably going to put some items together in a few moments, but might grab an extra wave there. 5,000 gold. The lead here for D+ Kia, and of course, we're talking about expectations of this series, right? Like, we were expecting D+ Kia to be the team to beat. Like, they have the ShowMaker Canyon combo that has just been so potent for so many years. It's so easy to sort of put different players around that, especially when, you know, Nogari was such a loose cannon anyway. It's like plug and play with top lanes. I think Khan was a little bit of a different story because he was so crucial to how they played the game that, that season. But with these 2, it does become sort of a little bit like a no-brainer. Yeah. Just putting Deft in, Kellin joining him there as well.
It's so cool how Canna is very different to Khan, and they both have very similar names.
Yep.
But Khan was the player who was super aggressive, right, in his Longzhu days, the Jace God, right? And Canna had a very similar playstyle, right? But I think Khan proved that his weak side was also amazing, and I think that his last year of play on Damwon Kia, when it was called that, was a little bit more multifaceted. And Canna now has to prove he can do that. And so far, so good, at least in this first game. He's dominating the Jax matchup here. Has a 2-0 lead.
Yeah, doing well so far. Of course, Jax can, you know, scale into that split-pushing threat in the later stages of the game. Of course, something we're going to be talking about a lot when we see Nongshim play tomorrow. But it also could be relevant here today. Cocoon's not going to find the mark, but man, that culling damage is ridiculous. BeryL not quite able to bop and or block enough there. But just a little bit of a flex. Not really too much more going to come from it.
The builds here, you know, too, like the Taliyah burst damage and what she can offer doesn't synergize extremely well with Zeri because Zeri wants the longer fight, right? So you somehow need to both punish the Gnar, but also make sure deokdam is safe. So Fate's going to have a very unique job here on this Taliyah to try to cut team fights in half. Speaking of...
Yeah, Canyon going to get over this wall, as we can see. Final chapter is going to come through. Oh, a little bit late on the removal of the Weaver's wall. Or maybe it was impossible to take it down that quickly. And so therefore, Canyon gets out, but does have to use his flash. DRX now trying to deny Soul Point here from D+ Kia. And it is going to be secured. Canna now does have a full Nava, gets everyone into the wall, dives on top. I thought he was just dead, but instead, they're going to be able to take down DRX. Rascal is chasing after ShowMaker. Prowling projectile there. He had a BeryL alongside him, and so they're not going to be able to get out scot-free, but still.
The Rift Herald's still walking. I mean, besides that death onto ShowMaker and the loss of his flash there, they got everything and then more. I mean, they both were able to drop that Herald down, set up a perfect team fight. Canyon escaped the initial exchange with his flash, comes back in flashless to try to contest because he trusts that Kanna's there, has a Gnar bar, and can set up and engage. And this is super opportunistic for D+ Kia, but it's non-committal. if there's no great Gnar engage, if Canna can't find the angle, they can just walk away and take that W in the mid lane with the Rift Herald, but they actually get to win on both fronts here because of this amazing Gnar engage. Flash is in, it's a 4-man, it's out of control.
Oh, and we get the instant replay of the replay as well? That's what we want to see. Look at this. I mean, Flash Gnar destroy everyone.
Technically a 5-man, I mean, if you consider that Yumi's attached.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. The flash from ShowMaker gets him out as well. Rascal just barely finishes him off on And yeah, no words needed to explain this one. Gorilla in the coaching booth there with Acorn. And
yeah, a lot of nices and absolutely well-deserved. So really well played there, but still, the Drake was denied, right? So that slows that stacking just a little bit. DRX have the opportunity to get a 4-stack Ocean. 4-stack Ocean Drake Zeri sounds like something you just don't want to think about, especially with a Yumi. So that is, you know, that's a prospect. That's a thing that could potentially happen. Although, likelihood feeling a little bit low right now.
I mean, there are really scary aspects. Like you mentioned the Jax side laning, right? We have the Zeri scaling, but the problems are really time-based here, because Dom1 Kia is hitting all the spikes so quickly that DRX aren't going to be able to buy space for that second, third item for the Zeri very easily here. Very difficult for deokdam to farm. So, yeah, Dom1 Kia, they lose a Drake here, which does stifle some of the tempo advantage they had, but because of all the kill gold they picked up, I think they're happy with how it turned out regardless. Some bounty gold did go over to DRX with that smite, but that's about it.
And also, it's Canna with that big play. But speaking of big plays, in comes Fate. Weaver's Wall now out. Ooh, doesn't get the flick. Deft able to get out of the way of that one. Still has his flash as well as Fate's just dead. He turns it immediately. BeryL takes a lot of damage, but he's going to be able to get out. Now Rascal trying to fight this one. Canyon goes too deep. Deft now having to flash to dash away. Gets over the wall with the relentless pursuit. And DRX looking for a little bit more, but unable to find it. 1-for-1 in the end. It
looks like the argument for that push forward from Canyon is that ShowMaker's sitting on Realm Warp. He has that cross angle. He's just below Baron, and he's going over to look for a side lane. And it looks like there might have been a little bit of miscommunication because ShowMaker could have Realm Warped in there with Canyon to try to actually continue that fight, but he wasn't there. He didn't commit the Realm Warp, so it does end up being a slight overextension. And this fight really tells the story of this game. Fate has a Weaver's Wall engaged, but they're just out of reach. Once again, with the Yuumi ultimate, he gets blown up. Canyon's like, I want more. Realm Warp's available. Look at where ShowMaker is on the map. He's so far away in the top lane that he can't quite get there, and I think that's where communication broke down just a little bit in terms of why he pushed forward there.
Yeah. Not to mention, Canna had 0 Narbar and was in the bottom lane as well. So just sometimes Canyon, he starts feeling himself and he goes a little bit too deep. He was like a 3-0-3 Elise at that point in time, so feeling a little bit invincible. And you can't really blame him all too much. 7,000 gold is still the lead, right? Even after that slight blunder, which turned out to be a 1-for-1 in the end anyway. And look at all this money, like 2.5K the lead for Deft. Really saying that, yep, I'm an upgrade. I'm sorry. That's what he's trying to say.
And when we were casting Deft in playoffs for summer, remember, at this time, no one had even considered the possibility that DRX would go to the worlds in general. Mind you, the finals and lifting the trophy. We were like, well, Deft's late game on his Lucian, though, is like what's really keeping this team together despite the losses in playoffs. And once again, just proving that he'll take a lead and he will use it extremely well. His cullings have been great. He's threatening deokdam all the time, Fate as well. And with Realm Warp available at all these turns, it's so difficult for DRX to even get into a side lane because you will be collapsed on. Now, DRX looking for an angle here on this Baron, but
Fate shows himself. Oh, dear. So now teleport immediately comes through. Are they going to be fast enough is the question. Here's the turn. All right, Nature's Grasp to come out. There is the Weaver's Wall as well. Deft gets out of the way of the roots though, and now T plus Kia able to get themselves into position. ShowMaker wanting to come over. The culling is just deadly from this Lucian. Tidal Wave to come through. Rascal gets knocked up. Fate as well in a bit of trouble. Aqua Prison's fantastic, but no one to follow up on it. Canna has so close to a Mega Gnar, and there it is, straight into the wall. But he may still have overextended, but no. There is just too much healing available. The Nami catches up in time, and they lock down Fate. DRX now on the wrong side of the rift. Jax goes down first. Now 3 left remaining. A tree, a Zeri, and a cat on a book. And I don't think they have anywhere to go, Wolf. Here's the flash twisted advance. Croco wanting to take matters into his own hands, but he has none available anymore. They're in the death chamber along with the rest of him. And now
ShowMaker's just like, try it,
Yeah.
I dare you. He just looks at their turn. I mean, that's the best you can hope for as DRX. Like, maybe we can catch ShowMaker. Good luck. This was a bridge too far here, unfortunately, for DRX. The turn angle is a little bit off, right? And D plus Kia kite back to the right side here, and now DRX on the wrong side of the map with no Maokai ult to peel. Tidal Wave is perfect, Bubble is good, and Canna's just building an R-bar. Meanwhile,
yeah, well, there is going to be yet another kill. This was Rascal coming in for what he thought could have been potentially a Miracle Steal or something like that, I guess. Teleported to try and pick up some stragglers, but didn't quite work out for him. That's filling in some blanks as we were in a replay. I think that's what happened.
I feel like the Canna doubters, those who were worried about this choice, because
I mean, I was one of them, Wolf. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie. Like, I did think that Canna was a question mark for this team, but it's been answered. It was a very quick one. You know, it might have been like an AI program that answered the question, but I got the answer very quickly. It was in this game, and I think it was a pretty good choice. That's what I'm seeing.
Because at the beginning, I was thinking, man, this is Canyon's game. It's all about him. And the early parts of it, sure, the win conditions we knew were there. Like, okay, Elise can dive, and she's going to be really good at it, yeah. But it's been Canna who's really just absolutely solidified the lead and has turned these fights into stomps.
Yeah.
It's crazy what he's done with the Snar pick in this game. He's got his Cleaver online, now building a little bit tankier here with a Bramble.
The thing that I really like about what I'm seeing from Canna as well is that he's playing actual weak side as well. Remember, it was T1 having to play around Canna so much in order to make sure that he worked out for the team when that team was very strong, actually, with him towards the top side. That was sort of the peak Canna that I remember. But this was Canna playing very defensively in lane, then found a little opportunity around a Herald pit, and from that point on was able to assert his dominance. Speaking of which, they're going to go for it. Here he gets flung back. Caster Curse immediately comes out from Atlas, but the answer is there from D plus Kia. Croco going to be the sacrifice. ShowMaker taking his Baron buff back to the mid lane.
ShowMaker just got so much AP, he's ripping this turret apart. We'll try to Realm Warp.
Yeah, he does get shoved back, so he's not going to be Realm Warping anywhere, but oh my goodness, deokdam might just die. What is that shield, ShowMaker? That is absurd! The Zeri goes down, Rascal to follow! And yeah, that's why Ryze is 100% presence, I guess. That was illegal.
Yep, and he's got his Seraphs, he's got a lot of healing. He's very ahead, you know, he's sitting at level 17 right now, and he just will not die. And yes, Canna's sacrifice does feel bad for his KDA, but it absolutely allows Damwon, or rather D plus Kia once again, caster Flub here, to make quick work of these turrets now. And Canna's back with teleport. He's just sitting in the fountain. He's like, it's coming up in like 5 seconds. I could come here if we want to end. Do you want me to save it? Do we want to group? Where are we going? He has all the options. Picks up a stopwatch along with Canyon here. And I think we don't get to have that conversation about Zeri's third item being halfway done at 30 minutes anymore. And
I don't even know whether it's relevant if like ShowMaker can stand in amongst 4 people and just straight up not care. This was, you know, Canna being Caster Curse. That's entirely on me, so don't blame Canna for that one. And this is ShowMaker. Like, let's just admire.
He's like, oh, I wanted to Realm Warp out, but thank you for giving me the opportunity to just turn around and be Machine Gun Ryze. This is not Tank Ryze. It's just regular Ryze. It's level 17.
I think it was also a lot Kellin just, you know, coming in with some of the heals there as well, but I don't think that Nami heals that like enough to warrant that being an okay situation.
No, it's the Rod Seraphs, man. It's broken on a lot of champions, but when you're this ahead, it's really broken.
Yeah, I tried to dub this, but right now I think that because ShowMaker has 4 rods, technically it's kind of like a table.
Yeah.
Like his build's kind of a table right now.
Canna wants another solo.
Yeah, Canna's looking for it. Does find the Nara into the wall, gets the stun, avoids the stun of the counter-strike there as well. Another rock is going to land. He just keeps picking up these houses and throwing them at the Jacks. But he's going to be able to make it out.
Yeah, Rascal will get out here, but the rest of the map is in shambles. He's got so much control mid-bot. Pushing those, you know, obviously super minions now that the inhibitor is down in the mid.
All right, in goes Deft. A little bit aggressive, but they're able to get over walls. deokdam, so he's going to be able to do that. Now just a full culling.
There's the
He's going to be thrown in. Fate is well and truly dead, but can they get more from this? And by more, I mean, are they just going to tidy up the Nexus? I think the answer might be yes, as here towards the top side. Just needs an auto or two. There's the flash out. Nicely done. Canna now just going to be fighting against the turret. Not sure what's going to happen there or whether it even matters, because we're fighting players with a naked Nexus. And D plus Kia are going to be able to finish game one. What a statement here, straight out the gate.
30-minute game, but it certainly did not feel that long. D plus Kia from start to finish in complete control, and even when there was that really cool bait from Fate and Croco, and they got that kill into ShowMaker, the tempo of the game didn't change even slightly. ShowMaker just heads straight back to lane, and you could forget about that even happened in the first place, because Canna is popping off in every single fight, whether it's a solo kill in the top lane, whether it's a 4-man Gnar on the Dragon, or the turns he had in his own jungle. I am impressed so far, and the Gnar pick was the one that I was the most skeptical of in the draft. I knew it could be good, but risky, obviously, against the Jax. If the Maokai gets an advantage up there, the split-pushing win condition becomes so much stronger for DRX, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also think that as well, like a lot of the question marks we had for DAM1 last year, and now D+, it feels like it's gone, that draft as well was extraordinarily clean. And I know it's one game sample size and things like this, right? But what I want to pay attention to is how much of those drafting habits that we've seen from what was DAM1 Kia and now is D+ Kia, how much of that is going to remain because it's part of what the players wanted to do, and how much is it going to change because now it's Acorn and Gorilla, two very different minds behind this team. So many questions that we still have to have answered here from this squad, but so far the defending world champions not having the greatest time in this particular game, but I think back to the drawing board, put BeryL on something a bit more crazy and see what happens then. Yeah,
I felt like in one hand, it looked like Fate and Croco's synergy with the Talia Weaver's Walls and those Maokai ultimates wasn't there in terms of trapping D+ Kia, but I think D+ Kia's positioning was actually really the true thing to focus on. They were always just barely out of range, so they couldn't get trapped by that ult combo. They always just kept sneaking away, just barely out of Yuumi ult range, just barely skating away is Deft. He doesn't die, he turns around and pops Fate instantly. Let's take a look at his damage this game. 34.5k on the Lucian.
Oh my goodness. I hope you gave POG to Canna anyway.
I did,
right?
I did.
Yeah, but Deft did a lot of the boom boom, as our friend Valdez would say. Plenty of boom boom damage. Of course, that's how Lucian works in this composition. We've seen this throughout the last couple of weeks as